Good afternoon, everybody. Glad to see you folks in the audience. Didn't expect anybody today. Good to see you, though. I'd like to call the meeting of the Board of Trustees to order. If I'm not mistaken, I believe we have all of our voting members present. So we do have a quorum. If you all get a chance, you can dial up Candace, Dr. Tate somewhere. She's on a sheep farm, sitting on a rock. So we have two sets of minutes we need to approve. One is for June 5th, 25, and June 19th, 25. Have all of you had a chance to look at those?
Yes.
And if you have, do I have a motion for approval? Both sets. Jimmy? Do I have a
I make a
second?
motion that we approve both.
Do I have a
Tammy
second?
says second.
Okay,
Yeah. So I was here for the first one, not here for the second one, Tammy says.
okay.
Okay.
Are you just seconding for June 5th?
Yes.
Okay. So all those in favor of approving the minutes for June 5th, please make it known by raising your hand. Thank you. And now I'll take a motion for June 19th.
So moved.
Wallace has moved. Do I have a second?
Jimmy, second.
Jimmy seconds. All in favor of approving those minutes, let it be known. Thank you very much. At this time, we will have an election for our chair and vice chair for, and excuse me for asking, but is it 1 year?
2-year term.
2-year term?
Be happy to conduct the election.
If you would, please, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is Chris. Board members, good afternoon. Good to see everyone. So now you're going to have the election of your chair and vice chair under board policy 2200 for a term of 2 years. And unless there's objection, process will follow is I'll open the floor for nominations. Once we close the nominations, we will vote in the order in which nominations were received until a candidate gets a majority vote. Start with the position of board chair. So I'll open the floor to nominations. Are there any nominations for the position of board chair?
And the video for the interpreters is gone.
Hang on just a second. We can get our interpreters back. There. You may want to repeat that, Chris, because our.
Okay. So again, what we're doing now on the agenda is having the organizational meeting to elect chair, vice chair for the Board of Education. Excuse me, for the Board of Trustees. And so this is for a 2-year term, and we will start by opening the floor for nominations for the position of board chair. Do I have any nominations? Well, Mr. Saunders?
This is Wallace. I nominate Sandy Turner.
And Tammy says, I have a question. So here's my question. Is it appropriate for a person to self-nominate? Can we do that?
Yes, this is Chris. It is appropriate and for someone to self-nominate themselves. That is absolutely fine.
Okay, I just wondered. That was my question. Thank you. Because I was going to say the exact same thing Wallace said. I was going to throw out Sandy Turner's name as a nomination.
So there's an endorsement from Dr. Weiner. So the nominations are still open. Are there any other nominations for the position of board chair? Hearing none, I will close the nominations and move directly to a vote. All trustees in favor of Ms. Sandy Turner being chair of the board for 2-year terms, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Congratulations, Ms. Turner, board chair.
I was just getting ready to ask if anybody wanted the job.
The board will notice as a point of procedure, I did not allow Ms. Turner to make any comments. We will now proceed to the office of vice chair of the Board of Trustees, and I will declare the floor open for nominations.
This is Tammy. This is Tammy. Yeah, so this, again, this is Tammy. So I am currently vice chair, but I would like to take myself out of the running. And just let you all know that because I feel like as vice chair, someone who lives closer to the campus and who can be physically with Sandy Turner, that would be good. Somebody who can actually be on campus as needed. So that's just what I would like to share with my board members, my colleagues here. So being out of state, that makes it very difficult for me to physically be there to support Sandy as I would need to.
And this is Chris again. While the policy does not explicitly state, it would be my recommendation that the chair and vice chair both be voting members. Ms. Turner?
I would like to nominate Mrs. White as vice chair.
Turner has nominated Mickey White to be vice chair of the board. Are there other nominations? And I will close the floor to nominations and proceed directly to the vote. All in favor of Ms. Mickey White being vice chair of the Board of Trustees, please raise your hand. And you can vote for yourself. Any opposed? Okay, congratulations, Ms. White, vice chair of the Board of Trustees. Madam Chairperson, I will turn the meeting back over to you.
Thank you, sir. And at this point, I would like to say, Tammy, even though you are many miles away, you have done a superb job of keeping up and staying in touch. And through
Thank you.
all of the turmoil of the first year, you never let me down and you were always there when I needed you. Say thank you very much. So don't feel like you're too far away.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Okay, we are to legal updates. I've been hearing a lot of crickets over the month. Hopefully, Chris, you've heard some more than I have.
Right, so the legal updates that I have are very brief. Evening, board members. First of all, we are putting the finishing touches on the MOU with Department of Administration, who will be providing their staff with support in a lot of different areas. My understanding is that relationship is already up and running, and it's being productive. So hopefully I will have that. You delegated the authority to your superintendent to go ahead and execute that agreement. So hopefully I'll have a finished agreement for you next time. Same thing with insurance, and that's just an MOU regarding insurance. All of your insurances are in place. So both of these things, just taking a few more passes to iron out the details, but that's it. We still don't have a budget. We still don't have any new or amended legislation, so nothing to report with that here. So thankfully, not a lot on the loop for right.
When we got to the minutes, I had jumped over the adoption of the agenda, and there's two things that we need to add to the agenda. I apologize for this. One is our scheduling for the year. It's going to come up under new business. And also policy number 4240 is going to come up for, and we can either do that in new business or under the policy, which,
I think new business would be the
Okay.
best place because you've got 50/20 there.
okay, we'll do
And
that.
then did you need that board member training? Is that on the agenda? Okay.
It came in, but I'm getting ready to go to that after the director's update. Does anybody have any problem with the agenda adjustment? And I apologize for that. Dr. Todd. And folks, this is our first meeting with our new superintendent.
Hooray for that. Hooray. Well, so you will think with summer it's really low key and not much going on, but no, that's not true. You would be wrong if you thought that. So 10-month and 11-month staff are back on campus. We've got registration day. We've got those events that's scheduled. That's going to be August 17th. A little bit different this year. So Key and her group, they've been working hard, helping us prepare the wonderful events that we'll have. We're going to have 6 different agencies. And they'll be coming. For example, Sorensen is coming. They're going to give parents the opportunity to learn about resources and their resources from those agencies. And we also have professionals, partners who are going to be coming for the children. And then that is for, they're going to be presenting for our parents. And then they will have the same thing. We've got registration, paperwork, everything that we have to do, that's going to be the same. We also are going to have some games. And board members are going to help us serve the meal. And that is going to be sponsored by Case Farms. So a lot of exciting things and that we're going to be doing to welcome back our students and our families. So the first day of school, that is August the 18th. Ooh, wow. We have 10 new students and 4 will be here. We got 10 in process, but 4 of those will be here on day 1 of school. And I expect the other 6 students, they will be here probably by the middle of September. That's what I'm hoping and expecting. So those 4 other students will also, and then we'll have 4 other students who maybe will be moving here soon, or they'll be coming soon for a tour. So a total, we're looking at about 14 new students. Yay for that, right? Okay. And exciting things planned for academics. So we're going to be offering 3 RIT classes. And our teachers have been training this summer. They're going to be able to provide college or be able to get college credit for that. And also the first time since, or at least during my tenure here, we are going to have separate classes for preschool, kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade. And those are all full with those young students. Hooray. And then, and Tom Riley is helping us as interim athletic director. And he's setting up rec sports. He's going to set that up with the city of Morganton. So that's going to be set up. And then we will have our own teams for flag football, for boys, and also girls for volleyball in the fall. And so those are a lot of exciting things happening. So we're getting ready for the students to come back, and that's kind of where we are. Sam Turner says, that is wonderful. Jimmy says, I've got a question for you, Dr. Todd. With flag football, that's with the rec. Now, is that going to be all the students, or how is that going to work? It's age 5 to 13. 5 to 13. And we'll have our own team. And then we will also provide, offer the use of our field. And then Morganton, the city of Morganton, folks can come in, they can come, and that allows them to learn about us. And Jimmy said, now about coaching, what about communicating with the coaches? You want to do that? Oh, no, I'm not a sports person. I'm not a
Like a
sports person.
volunteer.
No, forget that. But I'm just wondering, I'm just throwing that in as far as communication access. Yes, Dr. Todd says, we hope we'll have coaches from here for our team. But you want to do that, Jimmy? You just jump right in and come on in. You can volunteer. You want to do that? I'm gonna put your name down. No, I'd rather do volleyball. Oh, you want to do volleyball? Okay, we might put Jimmy's name down as for volleyball. Okay, there you go.
He was practicing that in the hall.
So Jimmy was
Volleyball.
practicing that in the hallway.
Uh,
Question from Ray.
Ray. You do great.
I just want to add one other thing. So for the, working with the rec with our students, we've had like co-coaching. So we could have, one person from our school and then one person from another kind of working together. We could maybe do something like that, kind of a learning opportunity also. So I'm happy to see this kind of work out again.
Thank you much, Dr. Todd. And before we leave the director's report, this is for the Board of Trustees. We are helping provide lunch on the 17th. Case Farms has been very generous in donating that for us. So I'm looking for volunteers to come and help serve and meet and greet our parents and families. This is our opportunity to get to know them a little better, and it's their opportunity to get to know who we are. So if you, I'm not putting a list down because I've already put the list together and there were no exemptions.
If I put this together.
Is like you must come back. Okay, we have an opportunity to meet our training requirements. And we need to thank our lawyer for his looking out for us so that we did not, well, all except for Wallace. Wallace is up to date. So we did not have to go to Raleigh. But on September the 11th, from 2 to 5, we have a leadership, education, and development training session in Lenore. So please make plans to be there for those 3 hours so that we can get that amount of training in. And for the remaining hours, just a second, Tammy. For the remaining hours that we will be required to get, I think it's 12 hours of training. Chris has so graciously said that he will take some time before or after a board meeting to get some of our training in gradually so that we will not have to go back to Raleigh. Tammy, you got a question?
Yeah, so this is Tammy. So my question is for that,
What is it,
yeah,
hybrid?
what's the format going to be for that?
It is not video.
So, we have subscribed to NCSBA's online video subscription, so all of her training can be done virtually. So as soon as we have that come through, she will have access to all of the training.
Tammy, did you get that?
Okay, but you're saying for September the 11th, I need to be there in person? Is that what you're saying?
No,
No.
Oh.
Okay.
this is Sandy. Tanya says we have subscribed to the School Board Association, and we now can do it virtually through video. You can do all of your training through video once it's set up.
Oh, great.
But I will say this to the board. Last year in Raleigh, we had such a bonding session for 2 days in Raleigh. I mean, I'll miss that.
I know.
Especially our Korean dinner. Chris, you got
Yeah,
something?
but
Yes.
for 2 hours, ooh, should I drive for 2 hours? I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah, so the training, then my drive is going to be 9 hours, training 2 hours, drive back 9 hours. Ooh, I don't know. I guess I could fly into Charlotte. I guess that's a possibility. I'll figure it out. But you did say I do not need to be there in person, right? Because I can join remotely. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that.
And this is Chris. So like that online service through the School Board Association is a great way for all board members to get their training. required. No additional charge. You can do it at your pace. Anything that I do will just be kind of supplemental. At an existing board meeting, you might address some issues, but certainly there is, no need to pay anything, including myself, to get training hours. You can all go online. So we may do some refresher things as a board, but I wanted to emphasize that to get the bulk of that 12 hours, the easiest options are to go to a School Boards Association and if in person, or just use the online resources that you've got. Of course, Ms. Tanya will be happy to assist if anybody doesn't help.
Watch a video.
Okay. Tammy says, great. Thank you.
I told Dr. Todd we'll all get together in the conference room. We'll have dinner, brought in and watch videos. Chris can bring the popcorn. Okay.
Nice.
Anything else on the training session? And if any of the board members from here, Dr. Tate, Mickey, Jimmy, myself, if you want to carpool, we can make arrangements to do that on the 11th, Dr. Todd.
This is Jimmy. Honestly, it's so easy for me just to go right up the road to Lenore. That's fine. Now, maybe the Morganton people, but me being in Hickory, that's a piece of cake for me to get to Lenore.
One in every crowd.
Okay.
The other thing we need to talk about is our schedule for this upcoming year. And I'm going to steal a little bit of Dr. Todd's thunder here, but the high school is going to be housed here in Hoffmeyer Hall. And with that, it kind of affects our board meetings somewhat. Because we have an audience in a residential area for our students. So I have looked at the schedule and tried to cut down on the number of board meetings we have this year. The school is progressing very well. Chris, you still have your hand up. You just want to say something? I just noticed that. I thought maybe I held you off. But I tried to look at how we could accommodate everything going on. So I put some things together virtually and in person so that we can be on campus some. Did you all have a chance to look at this tentative schedule as a possibility? And do you have suggestions or changes that you want to make? Is there something that really jumps out at you that you can't do?
Amy and Jimmy both said we did look at the schedule. I don't have anything, but this is Jimmy. When the high school students move here, that is right. The high school students are moving here, second, third floor, whichever floor. Will there be any conflict with the cafeteria space? With their schedule? This is Dr. Todd. The residents will be on the second floor. And we should be able to lock this door here to my left. And then, of course, you've got a restroom that's right there. We can use in the kitchen area. So that we would be separated from the students by a locked door. And they will continue to eat in the cafeteria in main building, right? Yes, they're not using this. Now, with how many students are going to be moving? Over 8. 8 high school students. And so those are the students who are going to be residential students, just 8 high school students. And this is Tammy. If I could clarify one thing here, in person, is it still hybrid, even though you label it as in person? Are we still working with a hybrid format? Yes. Sandy says, okay, that is perfect. Great.
Tammy, we expect you to fly in 3 times this year.
Oh, yep. Show me the money. Show me the money. Pay for my ticket.
Wallace, you got some?
In terms of the meeting frequency and the need for the board to meet on a certain frequency, we've done a lot of work over the past couple of years in terms of adopting policies. It's been very busy. And so that's why we adopted a monthly schedule. A lot of that work is done. So maybe monthly isn't needed. But the one thing that I do have a question about is, would this schedule provide what we need in terms of the hiring? That may be needed more frequently.
Well, I'll let Dr. Todd address that, but I did put at the end of my memo that we should all be ready to accommodate Dr. Todd in any way with a 48-hour notice of meeting, kind of like we did this summer when we approved a couple of those policies and did our CPC hire, that sort of thing.
Yeah, this is Dr. Todd. So if you all could call a meeting, I mean, you can call it when you need to, and I think that would satisfy, that'd be satisfactory. But then especially with the budget situation as it is right now, after, I guess we've kind of got to put a hold on hiring anyway as it stands because of the budget situation. So after this is today's recommendation, then we will just have to hold on the hiring until we get a budget.
And I was going to say to the board, we all need to watch as to how our legislation is moving forward. And when a budget passes, the school will need us to come back in on 48-hour notice for a meeting, just so we can tie up any loose ends, any loose hires. We're not going to be able to do a whole lot until we do get a budget. So does everybody understand that? So don't go overseas or anything like that. Okay, if everybody's in agreement, I'll entertain a motion, and this will give Tanya the opportunity to go ahead and get her interpreters together for the year. So, anybody want to make the motion, or does anybody want to amend the schedule?
This is Tammy. So I move that we accept the proposed meeting schedule and just go ahead and keep that set. That's until, let's see, I'm looking until, let's see, sometime next year, right? It's going through 2025, 2026.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for the benefit of the audience. I will run through this briefly for you. Our next meeting date would be October the 2nd, and it would be virtual. And when we meet virtually, there will be a live person in the conference room if you want to attend that meeting. I know Chris and I'll be there. Then in December 4th, we would meet in person here. February the 5th, we will be virtual again. April 2nd, we will be back in person. And we can decide what we want to do about June 4th, because we have some board members who will have to either be reappointed or leave the board. So we've got that to face at the end of this year. Any more discussion on this? If not, all in
This
favor?
is Jimmy.
Second.
I'm not sure if this is related, however, but with the schedule, talking about the schedule and setting those meetings. So the committee meetings will still continue to meet as planned, right? So I'm thinking about Tammy, because, Tammy's backed out as being, vice chair, but she'll continue with her committee chair as committee chair, right?
We're not leaving the committees. Okay.
Not leaving the committees. We may add more committees.
Okay, do I have a second for this motion? You did that.
Second.
This is Ray and Wallace, second.
Ray's got a question.
Now, I think Ray was,
Yes.
are we keeping the same time? Yes, same time.
Works good for our
Meeting
lawyer.
time.
Works well for our lawyer. Okay.
Right. Ray said 4 could be a little bit challenging as a teacher who finishes work at 3:15. So if we're an in-person meeting, having it maybe a little bit later or just at a different time.
So Tammy's saying, Ray, you could just attend virtually the whole time. You don't have to come in person. If you wanted to, you could just attend virtually. But I've got kids, I got a child there, so I really sometimes do want to be on campus.
Okay, all in favor of this schedule, please raise your hand. We will adopt this for this year. And if we need to make changes, we can do that. Okay. But as Wallace said, we worked very hard the last 2 years. We've met every month, and I don't think we need to do that. But I would like for our committees to continue to meet on a monthly basis if they can, because we still have some policies to get through. And there's still work going on at the school, even though we have a fabulous leader and we don't need to be here every day.
What about every day?
Okay. All right, we have 2 policies that I'm going to ask Chris to go over with us that need to be in place for orientation week, which is next week. So Chris, you want to talk about 5020 and 4240?
Be happy to, Madam Chair. This is Chris. So board members, the first thing to point out to you is that you have already adopted policy 2014. And policy 2014 is your policy adoption policy, policy development. And it says that you do go through 2 readings for each policy. But that this Board of Education by majority vote can grant temporary policy status, temporary effects to any policy for emergency conditions or special events, which will take place prior to formal policy adoption. So both of these policies are with Dr. Tate's committee to review these policies and to look and see if they want to make any changes. However, it was brought to my attention that it might be a good idea to have visitors to schools and the student abuse reporting policy both in effect for the start of school. So the first policy, again, visitors to schools, just talks about reporting to the office and who is a visitor and what you have to comply with coming on campus. And it's got some important things in here such as sex offender notifications, and then it also has the procedure for what happens if someone shouldn't be. And the authority of school officials to ask them to leave, to notify law enforcement, and also to potentially ban anyone for up to a year who might be disruptive on campus. The main thing is the law, in order to enforce through the law enforcement, someone not being on campus, the person must have the authority from the governing board to ask the person to leave. So the good news about this policy is that it does put into place a process by which if Dr. Todd or someone needed to ask somebody to leave, it's in policy, and that would be provided. So I see no problem with going ahead and having the board vote this evening to give temporary status. This policy 5020, so that the pertinent points can be implemented right away and that would give Dr. Todd's committee a time to do additional revisions. The same thing is true for the child abuse and reporting policy. I want to point out that is policy 4240. Most of that is required by law anyway. This is just a recitation of what's required by law. Your former, and this is where it gets a little complicated, but your former policy was a school board, state school board association policy. And it called for certain teams to meet and other things to happen. That is no longer required because you are no longer subject to that particular policy since you are a separate state agency. So one of the things that Ian in my office recommended to Dr. Tate is she take that state school board policy and have her committee look at this policy and see if there's anything you want to retain or add that you think would be a good idea. So again, my recommendation would be temporary of 4240, so that Dr. Tate's committee can look and see if there's any other changes. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
I'm going
This
to
is
ask
Jamie.
Mickey, do you have any questions about either of these being passed as a temporary policy? Okay, you have a question?
Can get Jimmy.
Yes, it's Wallace. My question is, if we were to grant temporary status or adopt a policy on a temporary basis, does that have a specific deadline to it? Like, how does that work?
Right, this is Chris, and there is a deadline for it to become a final policy. You would need first and second reading of that policy. So it would not be inappropriate for you to ask, since Dr. Tate is not on the meeting and she I think it probably be a good idea for this board to maybe just informally through the chair, ask Dr. Tate to put these two policies on front of policy reviews for the committee and get them back to them as quickly as possible.
And
Hopefully by the next meeting.
she and I spoke briefly right before this meeting. This is Sandy. And I did tell her to get in touch with me next week and get these two on her calendar.
Second question,
Jimmy,
Go ahead.
Jimmy's run jumping.
putting Dr. Todd on the spot. Oh, sorry.
This is Jimmy. I remember, went back when I worked here, we did have specific people who were not allowed to be on campus. There was a list that we had. I don't know, we kept that list updated. I don't know if that's still, a thing, because there were people who were maybe alumni, but had some issues or caused problems that were no longer allowed to be on campus. I don't know if that's still a thing or how we would,
Make that decision.
make that decision. Dr. Todd thing, I have heard about the infamous list as well. That's pretty much obsolete at this point. I would say most of those people were things that had happened further in the past. Now, there might be some recent situations with some people where, like, that we might need to have an eye for, and safety officer Eddie and our SO is will be monitoring the campus and keeping things locked, and this policy will address that issue where if somebody has some sort of like, they can't be here for a year, I think is what it says, a sex offender, under that section, I think it's addressing that. So to have an actual list, no, but then you say, what about homecoming when we have, we're open to the public or different tournaments or events? Those individuals wouldn't be allowed to be on campus either. That gets a little bit sticky when it's open to the public and we don't know everybody who's coming in. Dr. Todd saying we would have some sort of control with admissions for homecoming. We can have a list of, we always have a list of people who maybe we think, we're expecting and can double check, making sure if there's any concerns.
Any other question? You had a question?
Yep, I had a question. Putting Dr. Todd on the spot, anything in the visitor policy in particular that looking at, you think should be changed or added or?
I don't see anything. No,
Other?
I mean,
We'll have a chance when we
I'll
adopt
look
the
at it
permanent
again,
policy
yeah.
to make any changes.
yes.
I will ask a question before we get on vote of this. There was, back in the dark ages, a banned list. And some of those were banned for life. And I hate to say that, but there was some on that list. And I think maybe Eddie, somebody should take a real hard look at that list. And if they're still there, then we need to update that to your staff.
And this is Chris. I believe the policy does have the immediate flexibility in the very last paragraph for Dr. Todd to deny anyone to come on school grounds for up to a year at any time for dangerous or disruptive behavior. So, committee, and thanks to Ms. Tanya, this policy will be a policy committee rather than Dr. Todd's committee, which looks more at student issues. So this will go to the general policy committee. But that would be something to think about is, do we want to maintain the potential to ban someone for longer than a year? And that's certainly something that the staff can consider and come back to you with recommendation. But I feel good that if there is somebody on that list, this policy gives her the immediate authority to ask them to.
Okay, are we ready to take a vote on 50-20, doing temporary approval? And Mickey, this one will come to your committee. 50-20. 42-40, I think, is the one that is in Dr. Tate's
Dr. Tate's committee.
purview.
And that's the child abuse and related threats to child safety. And if there's no objection, you can take them both as a single motion.
Okay.
Temporary.
So I'm looking for a motion for both of these policies to be put in effect for temporary approval so that the school can enact them for next week.
So moved.
I have first, do I have a second?
This is Jimmy.
Jimmy,
A
second. Any more discussion on that? If not, all in favor, please raise your hand. That passes. So y'all really.
This is Tammy.
Okay,
Tammy.
Jimmy's
Before we move on, with the next item on the agenda, I would like for, I don't think it's on, for the, background is a little bit blurry. I'm wondering if we could remove that. I'm having a hard time following. There's like a background.
Can we do a normal?
Can we just do like a normal background? And Ray's like, I'm sorry, for who, for which, for Chris and Sandy, or, yeah, because when they're signing, we're losing part of your signs. It's, the background's not keeping up with that, and it's it's dissolving your hands away a little bit when you sign, so,
Oh, yeah, so much better.
yes, and Wallace too, yeah. That's so much better, yes. Thank you.
See,
And,
if we remove. the
thank
filter,
you,
that's
thank you
better.
for the
Remove
filter
the-
removal, that's so much better, thank you.
Okay, Tammy, that sure cleared that up. I was waiting for that. I planned. Okay, that is all the new business I have. Does anybody else have any new business? Okay, old business, we had, and Mickey, are you vocal?
Vocal.
Yeah.
I see you.
Speak.
Are you vocal?
She can be.
Yes.
She's not on the.
Am I,
She will be.
is there feedback?
Okay, hang on. We have policy 4301 and policy 4325 up for second reading and possible approval tonight. So, I'm going to step out of line with your policy committee and ask you to address those now, if you would.
Yes, so we, at our last meeting, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. We okay? Previously, we had the policies 4301, 4325 presented for the first reading. That's authority of school personnel and drugs and alcohol. Those have been well vetted and reviewed, and we are ready to ask for a motion to accept these policies as written. Any discussion about these policies before we do that? I should say. Do I have a motion to accept these policies?
This is Jimmy. I move to it.
Thank you, Jimmy. Do I have a second? Tammy? Thank you very much, Tammy. All in favor, raise your hand. And that passes, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
In effect. So they can be part of orientation also. Okay, and one of the reasons, I guess we need to clarify for the audience is that, next week in orientation, your staff are going to go through these and sign them as understood and having read. And then next board meeting, we'll have tests. And Sandy Manning said she's not coming. Okay, at this time, Wallace, I'm going to turn it over to you for our business and finance. A little bit what we have.
Okay,
Wallace?
this is Wallace.
Not much.
Not much to report. We did not meet over the summer as a committee, but we do have our regularly scheduled August meeting that's coming up in about 2 weeks. So there will be more to report after that. As has been mentioned several times, we still don't have a budget. And so the school is doing its best to operate based on last year's budget. We did receive some additional funding as expected, I understand, specifically related to the transportation needs, but that was for last year's fiscal year. We don't know for sure whether that will continue into the upcoming fiscal year. So that's still a question mark. Oh, there was also, thank you, $1 million of federal hurricane relief funding that was received. And so the staff is going through the list of needs and prioritizing the best use of those funds. And hopefully it will be enough to at least get us back to pre-Helene. There weren't any new contracts that were above the delegated approval amount that were listed, but it just occurred to me that since our next board meeting isn't until October, just to consider a question whether it might make sense to delegate approval authority for those to the finance committee if it didn't come up.
We can do that.
That's all I have.
We need a motion for that. Yep. What Wallace is requesting is board approval for us to give the finance committee the authority to any MOUs, agreements, contracts, any of those kind of things. Is that correct?
Those would be over the threshold that's already above Dr. Todd's.
Okay, but she can do that.
She can already do up to a certain level.
Okay, do I have a motion for the board to give this to the finance committee? Mickey. Second. Tammy.
This is Tammy.
Okay, is there any question or discussion about that? Ray,
This is Ray. I do have a question. I'm aware that we're awaiting the new budget, but how much SNAP and Medicaid is going to be impacted within the budget? I mean, that's something that we're kind of keeping an ear to the ground about as far as, budget cuts. It's a big question mark. So is that going to impact us? And I mean, maybe not something that we're even thinking about yet, but potentially could be something that's affecting our students with SNAP and Medicaid. So potentially that would then impact our budget as well. Dr. Todd, saying we do have students who are receiving benefits, and that is with the fee of the service fee for services. So for example, OT or PT or speech language pathology, we are getting some funds from Medicaid that pay or cover for that. We have used that in the past to pay for those contracts, but we cannot or have not, we've not been able to use the fees for service for that. So it's not affecting the services that we're providing for our students. It could impact the amount that we recover, if that makes sense. Ray said, I was just wondering if that was something the finance committee was looking out for. So it's just food for thought.
Wallace.
Ray, thank you for the question, and I'll make sure it's added to the agenda for the committee meetings and that we're keeping an eye on it. We'll report back.
I know I have a motion on the table, but this might be a good spot for you to address the federal funding that we have potential to lose because of the cuts.
Sure. So our budget primarily from the state, it's state funds. And we are really receiving not a lot of federal monies. We do receive money from a federal grant called Title 6B, and that is for special education. But if you have heard about like Title II or Title IV, that's the government's holding that money, that's not going to affect us in any way. we do not get funds from those titles. Our monies are from the state primarily. We do have, I want to say maybe 113,000 specifically for special education from that federal grant. And we use that for anything that's above and beyond the special services that we're already doing. So like specific training related to special education or a specific program that we think would benefit our students, but it's not a part of our daily operations.
Thank you for that. Okay, for our motion, all of those in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. That's what's in your. Okay, you have anything else?
That's all.
Okay, and, I would just say that as your committee meets, Wallace, maybe if Dr. Cobb attends those meetings, so she could keep us up to date on anything that's coming down like that we see as a potential problem.
Hannah
Hannah's on
is
that committee too, so
wonderful.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I was just gonna say, we could go ahead and circulate the minutes well ahead of the next board meeting, as soon as they're ready after the committee meeting.
Okay. All righty. Mrs. White. Think you're in a basement somewhere.
I am. I don't know.
Hold on just a second before you begin to speak, Aaron.
Okay, you ready? Okay. Yes, I am in a basement. I hope some of you appreciate my son's decor. It's all framed Sports Illustrated covers that have Carolina basketball on them. Sorry, Miss Todd. I'm also hiding out from a 3-year-old who doesn't know that Kiki has arrived at her house. And so trying to be quiet. So the only other thing for the policy committee is that we're going to continue to work through the 4,000s in chunks. And I presume that Ian will be getting those chunks to us, and we'll kind of get back on our regular schedule now that school's back in session. We'll get moving on those. And that's all else I have to report about that. Can I hear you?
Chris, the policy committee has caught up with their last submission from Ian. I know Dr. Tate's still working on some things, but if Ian wants to give them another chunk of those 4,000s, I know there's a lot of them, they're ready.
And this is Chris, and Ms. White, be thinking about this, we don't have the answer right now, but I was giving this some thought, and I want Ian to come up with a checklist of things that he reviews before he even sends it to your committee. And I'll send this to you, but so you can be thinking about it, such as, are there parts of the policy that are not legally required? Because again, not everything that school boards are subject to is also a legal requirement for NCSD. And if not, which of those are not required by law, so that your policy would know those sections are optional, but not required by law. Also, if the policy is not required at all for NCSD, to let your committee know that. So if you can give some thought as to whether or not the board should pass the policy, or whether we should handle it administratively or some other way. If the policy has cross references in it, what is the status of those cross references to other policies? And are those other policies that are in process or that we need? And should the board, the last one is, should the board think about temporary approval of any policy because it's that crucial part of the committee's session? So I'll send those questions to you, but I just wanted you to be thinking of other things that Ian would tell you and your committee members on the front end to make your process go a lot more efficient.
Okay, thank you very much for that. The Human Resource Committee, as I said, Dr. Tate is on a rock in Montana. And she does know that these policies that have been waiting for her committee approval, I think she's going to get that started next week sometime. So look at that. Marketing, Mr. Autry, our new flag football coach.
Yep, this is Jimmy here. I showed up, I want to say there were 3 other people showed up Tuesday for our marketing committee meeting. Unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of people. I think it's just a lot of holidays, people on vacation. Shaking my finger at you, Sandy. I'm just kidding. Anyway, we ended up having to cancel that meeting because there just wasn't a quorum. However, we have rescheduled that for August the 19th. It's a Tuesday. So next week we'll be meeting again, or 2 weeks. And speaking of that meeting that was canceled, we did go ahead with the flyer and the marketing brochure that we wanted to use. Jason Tuck has been working on that brochure. And so we wanted you guys to have some feedback, to look it over and then let us know. So, because we'd like to be able to go ahead and start handing that out to parents and visitors on registration day. And the website's still something that we're working on. We're making some headway, I think, and, we're getting close to having it ready to launch, but it's still a work in progress. It's not perfect yet, but we are again making some headway.
Thank you for that. I thought I got an excuse from that meeting.
I didn't know, not for me. I mean, there were 2 people who told me they weren't going to be able to make it, but nobody else. I got there and said, "Where is everybody?"
Oh, okay.
But I understand everybody's been busy. It's the summer,
Thank you for
lots
that,
going on.
Jimmy.
It's fine.
Dr. Tate is not here for student behavioral health. I do know that they are working. That committee has been meeting, and they have another meeting scheduled for August 27th at 2:00. Residential Life is a very enthusiastic group. I've really enjoyed working with them, and they are not meeting this month. They're going to meet in September. They are working extremely hard to get the dormitory program up and working on some activities. They've done some neat things with the basement of McCord, and they're working on their curriculum. And Dr. Todd is working hard to have a crossover hour. We'll talk about that a little bit.
Yes, we are we're working on making sure that our students know that our dorm staff and our academic staff are working together. And that both staff are working together 4 days a week for the specific concept of concept enrichment, for our concept enrichment program. It's 2 days a week. And then the other 2 days are going to be club days. And we'll have different activities. You'll have chess, just regular game times. just different things that dorm staff and academic staff are interested in leading. So they are in collaboration, working together.
And I'm excited about some of the things they're talking about. I think it's going to be neat. Our academic curriculum committee, Mickey, are you doing this or is Dr. Todd?
I'm gonna let
Hold on.
Kristen.
This Erin has been working hard vetting and getting that ordered. So that will be new this year. So we're working to amend the reading curriculum as well. And Sandy Manning has ordered reading milestones for specific students. And we also have the Bedrock Legacy Program. And then literacy, excuse me, the Bedrock Literacy Program. And that is specific for deaf and hard of hearing children. So we are also still looking at an ASL program that's age specific. We do have one that's ordered for older, it's an older curriculum, excuse me, for older students. But we're still researching some things that maybe would be better suited for a different age range. So that's what we've been up to so far.
I want to tell the board about some of the virtual science biology.
Okay, so as I mentioned before, the RIT courses that we have some students participating in. It's the Fast Forward program through RIT. And our students that are participating in that have been trained in specific curriculum. And we have offered that opportunity to local school systems as well, to the local school system here as well, for the deaf kids that are in those systems can also participate.
No takers yet,
No takers yet,
because you've advertised.
but we have continued to advertise. We'll continue to advertise, yes.
Very excited about that. Okay, thank you very much for that update. Outreach, Tammy?
Yes, this is Tammy. Last time, Dr. Todd and I met, we talked about maybe putting things on hold until we knew a little bit what was happening with the legislature and the budget and different things, but seems like nothing new coming down the pipeline just yet. So, Dr. Todd, do you want to add anything else about what we've been doing so far? Dr. Todd said, I would like to add again, just, I don't know if this is helpful, but, just reach out to your local legislators and, making sure that,
Access.
the legislatures. Because currently there is a special provision for NCSD to have
Babies.
that are 0 to 3, birth to 3 outreach. And so we just have to see how that works out. We haven't exactly ironed out the budget for that yet, but so that would be a part of our outreach strategies and focus once that goes into effect, if it so is.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
this is
thank you for
Ray.
that.
Ray, here, I wanted to add something else. So for your outreach, I'm aware that DSDHH and the governor's council is really advocating for that, but they're saying birth to kindergarten, birth to 5. But there was a license, I think, that you needed to have that. So they're making some changes with the law regarding that. I was looking at some different things. That seems to be some of the barrier. UNCG is the only college right now that's offering a birth to K, birth to 5 program. And so I was looking at the possibility of a birth to 12. But I wanted to ask if, and it's lots of questions, but if a K-12 teacher could be grandfathered in, maybe who's, already working with deaf kids and has been for lots of years, that could be something they could be grandfathered into that license and then move into that birth to K. Or is that something that they're going to have to take the new license, testing and everything to get that new license for that?
And they told me they can't be grandfathered.
Oh, because they can't, I did find out they cannot be grandfathered in. This is Dr. Todd. Thank you, Ray. I did expect, I did anticipate that would be a need. And that we already had one of our teachers who was getting a provisional license for birth to K. So that means we would have 4 on campus right now with that license. In addition to deaf ed K through 12. So it would be a good place.
Tammy,
Yeah, this is Tammy. I did want to talk to the board about the outreach committee because we have been on hold for a little while. So I don't know, should we meet and try to develop a letter to the legislature to just try to, kind of get word out maybe, or is there something we can do, in that regard? Just thoughts? And Dr. Todd saying we could. That was my suggestion before, that we could use that time instead of doing like a meeting, it could just, write your legislature, but we could get together as a committee and do it together. Tammy saying, I know we're not doing monthly meetings, and for right now, we still want to, I guess, continue being on hold a little bit. And so I know we're still on the agenda, even though we're not meeting monthly, but I did just kind of want to touch base again and just let y'all know we are still on hold.
false.
I was just gonna, I think that's a good suggestion, and I would just say I'm more than happy to contact legislators, but I would just need some help with the message.
I said, absolutely, sure.
I'm gonna add this at this time, because it's kind of related to outreach. But last Friday, myself as chair of this board of trustees and, Gary Farmer as vice chair of the Eastern School for the Deaf, were invited to the Council for Deaf and Hard of Hearing in Raleigh. Actually, it was in Durham, but, and this topic was sort of what you might call a hot topic there. But there was questions about licensure. There was questions about how the students would be served. And the thing I tried to reiterate to the council was that the program can still operate the way it's always operated with satellites. Everybody doesn't have to come to the campuses, but to serve our children at the best possible way that we can, that program needs to come back under the deaf schools, the birth to two, because we can offer so much more. Just like Dr. Todd said, we have licensed teachers now. One of the problems that the program is facing under DHHS is they do not have the licensure teachers. So I'm just going to say this to anybody that's listening out there in our audience in here today. We need to contact our legislators. We need a budget passed. We need to contact our legislatures that the House Bill 854 requiring all interpreters to be certified needs to pass. And then we need to contact them also that the special provision needs to become law. The birth to two is not a separate bill. It's not going to be a separate bill. It is a special provision that will be attached to a bill. So it'll be different in the way that passes. So there was a lot of conversation about interpreters being certified. I think we can see the interpreters we have and know that there's probably no one in public school signing to our students at that level. But anyway, I just wanted to give everybody kind of update on that. These are things that we can continually ask for. Okay, does anybody have anything else they want to bring up at this time? I'll get off my soapbox. Okay, at this time.
This is Ray. Sorry, I missed the last meeting. But I was on the educational committee with that group. So it was almost like sitting on the board of trustees for NCSD and, knowing other things that are happening in the state at the same time. So kind of facilitating a little bit of information here. But some of the information that, we're addressing is not a similar situation.
It is it's a similar situation.
That's okay. So is a similar situation with the council. And so trying to find a way to kind of make things easier for all the kids in North Carolina, not just NCSD's kids or the Eastern School for the Deaf kids, but just language access is a big topic for all the kids in North Carolina. We want all kids to have access to language. We want to reduce the amount of language deprivation that's happening in our deaf communities and see what is going to be the best for our deaf North Carolinians. And this is Tammy. Ray, could we work together and develop this letter for legislature, do you think? I mean, since I didn't realize you were working with this other committee or you were on the council? Yeah, I'm on the DSCHH council. It's a little bit different than what I'm doing here, but we just make recommendations to legislature. They can then respond to DSCHH and then DSH kind of responds back to us. It's a little bit of it's not a direct link to legislature. It's sort of a roundabout way, but House Bill 854. The interpreter license and all of that. I can the loudest people that are speaking up are the ones that don't want the bill to pass. And it needs to be turned around, where the loudest people are the ones who are advocating for the bill to go through. So we really do need to be advocating, and not just like, yeah, I think that's a great idea. We agree with that. The legislatures have no idea what we feel if we're not the ones out there, telling them. So we've got to be the loudest group in the room in order to, make a difference. So, because when you're talking with people, they're like, yeah, I agree, I support the bill. But nobody knows that in the legislature if you're not making your feelings known. So just putting that out there.
Thank you, Ray. Anybody else have any comments on any of that?
Just a question on it, because it seems really important and it seems maybe urgent timing wise. I guess my question, maybe this is a question for you, Chris, I don't know. But when might that go to vote and how quickly do we need to be moving? But no one knows.
Yeah, this is Chris, and I chuckle because I don't know that they know. So they're at loggerheads. And each other brain. So I think the sooner the better to get things in front of you. But no time comes.
Well, again, if I can be armed with the right messaging, I'm happy to.
Well,
That's
Do some outreach.
absolutely, yep, will do.
my suggestion is that maybe as a board of trustees, we could formulate the lead letter and get that ready for our legislatures. I'll send all of you a copy of it. We'll send it to all of our folks in Raleigh. And then you all can take from that letter and develop one of your own. I tried to stay in contact with Representative Blackwell. And we're also trying to stay in contact with Senator Daniel to let them know how much we need. Ray, at the council meeting last Friday, there were 4 legislators there. And I did not hold back and tell them that we needed a budget. I probably won't be invited back again, but those are things that we need to address and it's just like Ray said, it's going to be to the loudest voice in the room. Right now, we need to be that loud voice. So, okay, we'll do that. We'll get a letter to you and then we can go from there. Okay. All right.
Amy said that's awesome.
And Tammy, you can use your mother's address as a North Carolinian.
That's a good idea.
Okay. If there's no other business to be held here in open session, I am open to a motion for us to go to closed session for personnel matter.
Yes, and I'll add this, I'll provide this. I decided what I think the motion would be for personnel matters, and I'll leave this till this time just so she can start just posting it in the agenda. But it would be pursuant to subsection A1 to discuss personnel matters under session law 2310, House Bill 11, chapter 115C, chapter 126, and subsection A3 to discuss matters covered by the attorney-client privilege.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Do I have a
This
second?
is Jimmy, I second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. And we will take a 5-minute break. And come right back. Thank you all for being here today.
Positions. And can somebody else just outline which positions those are? Because honestly, I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I move that we accept all 5 as recommended.
Of staff development. We
Staff
have,
development,
HR2, dorm RLT,
RLT,
and a
teacher of the deaf,
teacher of the deaf.
and a grounds
I
worker.
thought I saw a grounds worker in there. So there's the 5.
Perfect. So moved.
It's very a variety. So Tammy has done that. I have a second.
This
Mickey's
is
got a
Jimmy.
second.
Jimmy.
All in favor, raise your hand. Welcome them to the village. Okay, is there anything else that anybody needs to bring up? Our next meeting, instead of being September the 4th, will be in October, unless by some miracle we get a budget. Chris, whenever you want to run that caravan to Raleigh, right on.
Got it. This is Tammy. Got it.
And it will be virtual for all of us except Mickey and I will be in the conference. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Got a second from Mickey. All in favor, raise your hand. And with that, folks, we are adjourned, and thank you very much for attending.
Yay. Yay, yay, yay.